I'm Brad, and I've been a tour guide for nearly 10 years. It's been my pleasure to show the best that my country has to offer to the hundreds of guests I've hosted over the years. Now you get to be my guest as I take you on an eco tour of paradise. Alright guys, welcome back for another exciting episode of Brad's Bahama Eco Trip. Today we're going to be discussing oceans. Alright, oceans take up 70% of the world's space. Not only that, we have since the 19th century 7 oceans. All right, that would include, of course, your Antarctic, Arctic, Indian, South Pacific, North Pacific, South Atlantic, North Atlantic, so on and so forth. So basically, water is very, very important, but particularly the ocean is essential for life, simply because not only are there over 240,000 species that are classified by marine science. You know, that's the majority of the life that can be found in the world in the water, but also a lot of that life is responsible for producing the oxygen that we consume. That would be in the form of phytoplanktons and so forth. They are photosynthetic creatures that basically produce oxygen. So responsible for not only giving life, but providing sustenance for the life on land. We also have some pretty awesome things taking place, such as the largest mountain in the world can be found underwater. Not to mention, 5% of the ocean has been basically explored. 5%. All right, we know more about celestial bodies than we know about our oceans. So, very, very interesting, expansive environment that we're now slowly understanding to be something quite unique. All right, so guys, so the largest ocean, being the Pacific, covers about 30% of the Earth's surface. Now, we in the Bahamas, we live in the North Atlantic, and we're pretty close to the Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico. Our waters are traditionally quite warm. Now, there's a very wide range of marine species that you can find all over the world, and places like the Bahamas are focal points for growth. Vast estuaries, aggregations take place in our very shallow, protected seas. Now, the ocean is home to a wide array of animals, more animals by far in the water than on land. Some of the largest being blue whales. The blue whale is the largest animal, living animal. Binoptera musculus is the genus and species. These things can weigh up to 98 tons. Be 98 feet long and 170 tons. So really huge creatures, you know, size of several buses. However, smallest creatures, a very wide range. Your smallest creatures would include, or smallest living things, I guess I would say, would be bacteria and small plant life, such as algae, photosynthetic microscopic creatures like diatoms and dinoflagellates. So very, very small creatures. So there's quite a wide array of animals you can find in the ocean. And but the Bahamas, we know there are species that are very close to our hearts, like dolphins, bottlenose dolphin. We also have turtles. As a matter of fact, all marine mammals are protected in the Bahamas. You're not allowed to touch them or anything like that. And turtles have been included very recently, a few decades ago, and now sharks. So we are now a safe haven for these different very special marine species. As a matter of fact, blue whales fall into that endangered category, as some of the species that I mentioned do too. So it's very important to remember, you know, you don't want to even be agitating these creatures in any way, and that includes picking them up, touching them, to try to enjoy them from a safe, comfortable distance. Okay, so as far as oceans are concerned, or the waters of our beautiful Earth, there are different categories. You know, we have zones that are considered flats, zones that are coral reefs. We have shallow water coral areas, deep water coral areas. We have pelagic zones, which are like the deserts of the ocean. These are vast zones that are not so close to shore and very, very deep. These are areas that migratory fish would transition through. And then we also have mangroves. So although some of these would dip into the categories of seas and bays, it's all ultimately a part of this great, vast ocean that we have. So basically with your coral reefs, reefs are very important for fostering of life, as well as mangroves, but reefs in particular, they can house a host of different types of marine life, not just in their birthing phase, but also in their adolescent phases. And they form that protective barrier away from rough storms. You know, they are also a place that has a lot of the food necessary for these smaller marine creatures to flourish. So the tiny little creatures that consist of coral, they can manifest their exoskeletons in different forms. So a lot of people don't realize that, you know, sea fans, sea whips, sea plumes, they all belong into that family of coral. And these are housing within themselves. You look at a simple sea fan, you would think that it's just an animal and that's it, or just you know, planet, if that's what people think, but it's actually an animal. But not only that, it's a condominium of a host of other types of animals. So there's lots of tiny creatures actually living in the vents of the sea fan. All right, so as it's catching water, going back and forth, it's filtering in many, many microscopic creatures we can't see to feed the smaller animals that are actually living on that coral.
I'm glad I got to share this part of my home with you. If you've enjoyed the tour, be sure to click the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Maybe I'll see you on our shore soon.